All right, all right, all right. It is. We're on the right screen, right? Everything's looking good. It's 4:30 in the morning right now. Wow, it's 4:30 in the morning, man. Why can't I sleep anymore? And I've been pretty active. I guess I'm still feeling the daylight savings time, right? Because it would have been 5:30 in the morning. Well, I guess I still can't sleep. I'm already at the computer. My coffee is already made. I've been hanging out, looking at a few things. But more importantly, and to the point, let's jump to the S&P. And this is the weekly on the S&P. So here we have this divergent pattern, ever so slightly, but still divergent on the weekly. And I'm convinced that we're going to see our Christmas rally. So I think I'm feeling a run to 40.75, a little retrace and a bounce. So what I'm looking for is another head and shoulders on this weekly. I want to see this drill out. And I think that could be the Christmas rally. It's a little tight in timing. No, it might work, man. It might work. This is a little low. I'd like to see a higher. You could argue it'll be. So here's the first shoulder right here, which is kind of low. This would begin the first part of the neckline. We need to create the second part of the neckline, which I think maybe 4,100. Come back down to 38, and then away we go. And then so I'm thinking 4,500. I'm thinking 4,500 by Christmas. That's my speculation. Could look at the ES on the weekly. And it's spelling that out also. I mean, we have a divergence. In order for the divergence to trigger, we're going to have to break. This is on the futures. We're going to have to break that 43, 44 mark. It may, this could be just a double bottom with a divergence, and away we go. The double bottom is a little more apparent on the actual market. Well, no, I guess there's the same difference. The divergence is obviously apparent on both. So that's kind of what I'm watching. If we drop back down to the daily on the S&P, I mean, we could see the divergence there. We had that. I mean, we could argue it's a divergence, kind of a sloppy head and shoulders. I mean, but that's what a divergence looks like. Looks like a sloppy head and shoulders. This could be the last kiss and the move up, So this is like what it's technically laying out to look like. But, we didn't even jump to the news. I'm so out of order. Nothing really going on today except the Feds, right? Really nothing going on. But the day to watch is the 8th, right? Because the primaries are going to kind of dictate the mood of the market. And I think it feels like the market's laying out where it's favorable Republican. And, I mean, theoretically, Republican Congress is, or Republican-dominated leaders is more advantageous for business, regulation, things like that. They're less supportive of unions, but unions work more. And the unions know it, so they're kind of torn between that Democrat that doesn't try to tear down the union and the Republican that tries to tear down the union but creates employment. So, but the, the market and what's trending or looking strongest is kind of screaming Republican. But the reality is that, Republican House and Senate with a Democratic president means nothing gets done. Although it's kind of locking in that Republican Party moving forward. So that could be favorable, although might be scary. I mean, I didn't like that Trump refused to honor the election. I'm not saying he didn't get cheated, but I don't think he got cheated any more than any other president. One way or the other. I think Bush stole the election back in the day. Gore had a good gripe. Trump stole the election, or Biden stole the election. And Trump might have a very good gripe. But I think that that you need to honor the result. They won. That's it. We honor our elections. If he feels that it was mishandled, then your party needs to do what it has to do to win the next election. And it doesn't necessarily mean you got to cheat better than the next guy, but you try to resolve all the issues and weaknesses so that there's a fair election the next time. I mean, there were a lot of variables in that last election. I mean, the count stopped, it came back on, the numbers were skewed. I mean, there's a lot of shit. And look, I've seen, the general nature of people. You've seen the people who work at these polls, and basically it's not, the upper echelons of society, because they're busy working and raising families. So they get trash in there. And really, I think people of low moral standards, or not that analytical, more reactionary, and shit happens. I think that a lot of special interests are involved, and people lose votes, misplaced votes, throw out votes. I think that shit goes on all the time. I don't think one party's any more responsible than the other. The problem is that the good folks are working 9 to 5s, trying to raise families and keep their lawn green and their houses painted. And the only ones with free time are the assholes who riot and make different cultures look bad because they're always in the news and shit like that. So I think that's what we have handling our elections. And I think the politicians support that because they know, it's good to have friends in low places, So, all right, anyway, I digress. My point was that it looks like everything's favoring Republican. I'm just wondering how great that's going to be. Are we going to resolve our issues and be a democracy, or are we going to lose the democratic process? Because and I didn't like when Gore challenged the vote either. Don't question it, man. You support democracy, you fix it, you cultivate it. It's like a sculpture, man. It's not done in one stroke. You got to massage it, you got to work it, you support it, and you resolve the issues. And that's what should have been done with the Gore Bush election, instead of dragging it out and lawsuits and all of that shit. And that should have been done with the Trump election, and it was actually quicker. They stormed the Capitol, which was entirely wrong. That's not how you do it nowadays. A million people have a voice. You don't need violence. You know what I'm saying? And it's a great resource, and they could have resolved things, but they gave fodder to to the liberals, to make the party look bad, make the people look bad. And what's interesting is, what did they say? 1 million people showed up there. How many millions of people didn't show up there? Who supported Republicans? So you could see the manipulation by the media, which is entirely corrupt anyway. All right, so how does this relate to the market? Anyway, the short of the long is, it's going to be like trading before news, nothing long term right now. I'm feeling Republicans for the long term, because obviously it's going to be a lame duck session for the next 2 years. But they're going to beat the shit out of Biden, which is going to shore up kind of the idea that a Republican president will be our next president. Big corporation is doing everything they can to make the economy look bad or wreck the economy, so that people are disgruntled with the incumbent. Countries around the world are doing the same thing that support a Republican president. And with the long picture, don't doubt that China's slowdown isn't engineered to affect the U.S. economy in order to get a more favorable political party in our office. I would believe too that Ukrainian war by Russia is the same premise. So because these have been a miserable 2 years, that's the reality of it. Rolling from COVID into one extreme situation into the other, and so invest with the eye on a Republican Party, deregulation, a little more supportive for business environments, things like that. So and that's how it looks like it's going. But in the short term, chop, 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 chop. I'm going to be very hesitant this week prior to the elections. Wednesday we'll have a clearer picture. We'll know what's going on. So really no need to go through all the markets. I think right now, looking at everything really doesn't mean anything, because it's a big event. It's a big, big, big event. So, hey, I babbled enough. We got some time. Maybe I got some comments out of this video. My mind is all over the place. I'm wandering. Can't even keep focus. So, hey, subscribe, hit the bell, hit the like. Join me at 9 a.m. and see if we get some trading going on. How I do it. Basically, you know what? I dropped the chat, so I'm not distracted. I'm focused on the market. What you're seeing is real trading. There's not a lot of entertainment on the screen because it's not about streaming. It's about trading. When it slows down, I check the chat, and maybe you could ask some questions, see what I'm doing. I talk out loud anyway, whether I'm streaming or not. So I'm kind of just speaking my thoughts and looking at the market and talking about what I'm seeing. And maybe something will be of interest. Maybe we could educate you on something. So that being said, see you guys at 9 a.m. and good luck with your trades.